Well, hello everybody. Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Making It Simple. Good Wednesday morning to you as I have a chance to record a little early today. And I hope that this day's starting off well for you. When I say that, I mean that with all sincerity. We are surrounded by so much negativity. And much like a moth drawn to a flame, or a bug drawn to one of those like electric zapper things. We so easily get drawn into that. It is much like a trap. It really is. I mean, it is one of those things that if we are not mindful of our surroundings, if we're not careful about our footing and the ground that we're walking on as to whether it's crumbling under us or potentially may fall because of a weak joint or whatever the case, we can find ourselves there very easy. We can be negative, we can be bitter, we can be, depressed, we can be hopeless, all these different things. That's why this moving from dark to light lesson is so important. That's why I've been breaking it down into just little increments. Not because I don't have more to say, because I've got a lot, and we're going to get back into more of it today. But rather, I want us to stop and take a pause, because sometimes we need to think about, okay, wait a minute, where am I at, and do I want to stay there? We talked yesterday about the testing of our faith. James says, knowing this. The word know, Know, it's one of those assurances, it's one of those guarantees. It's not a guess, it's not a maybe. I know it. I know that, you know, water's wet, fire's hot, garbage stinks. There's some guarantees in this life that we know. As a person of faith, as a person who is a true, full on, blood bought, sold out believer in Jesus Christ, I know without a question that not only is He real, but He's real in my soul. It's there. I just know it. Nothing else makes sense outside of that. Understanding that the process of getting there is not an overnight sensation. It is not an easy journey, because sometimes, even though many people, and I've known a lot of them, and again, it's not for me to decide who's right and who's wrong. Only God has that power. But some people have that experience or that moment in their life that they profess a faith at a very young age, saying, I said the prayer, accepted Christ. I'm not here to say whether that was a accurate moment or not. That's not for me to decide. But what I understand and how I come to know the Lord in my own life not only took me a long time to get ready and be prepared to receive that message, but even years after, and even years in ministry, it still took a refining to get to where I am now versus where I was even 10 years ago. God has a purpose in all things, even the ones that we don't understand. James says, knowing this. That word knowing is very important, because when we know the answer to the question, we don't stumble. We don't guess. We don't scratch our head. We don't get frustrated. We don't search around. We're not calling our helpline like on those game shows. We just know. What he's saying here is, when we accept, when we trust God, it allows us to see things that maybe otherwise we wouldn't see. It allows us to see that even adversity, even trials, even difficult times, it serves a purpose. It serves as a means to make us a better witness, a better example of Christ. We don't always feel that in the midst of that storm. Don't get me wrong. We're much like the disciples. Hey, the boat's taking on water. Don't you care that we're going to die? We get to that point sometimes. But if we'll back off, if we'll take a breath and realize, wait a minute, I know who I believe in. Look at everything he's brought me through. Why would he forsake me now? Why would he leave me now? He won't. When we buy, if we buy what's advertised as maybe the greatest thing that's ever been made, greatest product ever, the greatest cleaner, the greatest whatever, we can have a million different things. It doesn't matter what it is. How do we determine that? We take it out of the box and we use it. Whether it's cooking with it, cleaning with it, cutting something, using as a tool, whatever it was, whatever it is, whatever it says it can do. How do we know that? We use it. And it's either proven to be what it says it is, or it lacks in some capacity. There are times that in the life of a believer, in our walk, our faith, it has to be tested. It just has to be, friends. It can't just be a verbal assessment. It can't be a verbal testimony, if you will. Oh, I got this, I got that. Because even the disciples, they said, well, I can do this, I can do. And Jesus said, really? Really? I mean, you think you can drink out of the same cup that I do? And we would see through their life, they all fell short. From Peter, all of them, they all fell short because it's not a verbal profession. Our life is our witness. We are fallible. We can make mistakes. We are not all-knowing. We know a lot of people that think they know it all, but that's not who we are. We're not capable of that. Therefore, in order for our faith to get stronger, for our understanding of who God really is, there are times, there are moments, in order for us to see that it needs improvement, sometimes it comes under a little fire. That's not God being mean. That's God helping us. That's like the trainer at the gym that says, hey, push out one more rep. That's not to hurt you. That's not to deplete you of every breath in your body. It's to let you see there's more there. And that encouragement, that strength to say, hey, wait a minute, we can do this. That's what we build on. Knowing this, James says, that the trying of your faith works patience. It creates something. There's a reason. So as we look at going from dark to light, in other words, understanding that things will, and in some cases they must happen. What is a major component of that? Our attitude. I don't want it to. That's the world that we live in today. I don't want this, I don't want that. I want it to be my way. But don't we understand that sometimes my way is not the best way? Sometimes we need to stop and listen. God gives us examples. God places examples, sometimes through others, sometimes through situations, whatever, in front of us to help us, to encourage us, to teach us, hey, I don't want to go there. Or that's exactly the direction that I want to follow. Not to emulate another person, but rather to say, I need to stop and consider this. I need to get to that place where I can say, I know what God is doing in my life. Our attitude is a major component of that. Our attitude allows that door to open, or it completely shuts that door and puts a deadbolt on it. Our understanding is so important. And the way that we understand something is how we learn. That starts when we're little. And when teaching our children, and when we were taught, it's a step by step. It's, hey, this color is blue. It's matching that mindset to, watching that picture. This is A, this is B, one, two, three. All the simplicities of things, they build on each other. Our faith is no different. You've come to know Christ. Okay, now what? Who is he? What does that mean? He said, "Follow me." Where am I going? Why should I? All those questions are there. It's not a just everything's poured on you at one time and you get it all. No, not at all. Because if we don't take that process of learning that this was the greatest decision I've ever made, and I can if I'm asked that question, well, why, and I can't answer it, then I can't help someone else determine that they too need to make that decision. So my life must be my witness in order for that to grow. Sometimes, just like our knowledge, just like our strength, just like all of our abilities, everything, it has to be tested at times. If we look and focus on the results, that's of extreme importance. And this verse gives us that. In other words, the end, and there is an end, the end will come. But understanding that at the end, I will be better as a result of the situation plays right back into the attitude. Because if I go into everything with negativity, if I go into everything with skepticism, oh, this will never work. I'll never get it. I'll always be this. I'll always be that. I'll never have this. I'll never, that's what the world is telling everybody. Just be defeated. Just give up. That's the enemy whispering in our ear. You're not good enough. You're not this. You're not that. But God never says that. Jesus says, I came to give you life and it more abundantly. The journey to get there sometimes is a little difficult. Sometimes it is. It's just like climbing Mount Everest or going down into the Grand Canyon. That's not always the easiest path. But at the end of that journey, something amazing is there. As our faith continues to grow, as we know this, that the trying of our faith works patience, produces something. The end, it helps us look back over the situation and say, wow, I didn't necessarily enjoy that, but look at the results. Look at what this does. It's like starting with a pile of lumber. That looks like, okay, what is that? But at the end of it, you've got a beautiful home that you can turn the light on and sit in your recliner and look and say, wow. The end must be our focus. It's like the finish line in a race. That race is difficult getting there, but that finish line, that crossing, that accomplishment, that victory, personal or winning the winner's purse, whatever. It's like, wow, look at this. This is what James is saying. Focus, the word focus, and we'll close on this today. It means to produce a sharper, clearer image. But in order to do that, one must be able to see. One must be able to have clear direction. Knowing this, that the trying of our faith, the testing of our faith, produces something. We'll finish this up tomorrow, then we'll see where the Lord will lead us from there. But God bless you. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Stay focused. Stay strong. Stay intentional. God will show you something, and it'll be pretty awesome. You take care.